Hello, wonderful people. Welcome. It's that time of the year again. I saw so many people who were actually in the chat early. Why are you here so early? I know there's worms and stuff that you need to catch, but it is so good to see you. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Nathaniel Okenwa. I talk a lot, I write code, and people call me Chatterbox Coder. And I am a developer evangelist here at Twilio. And I'm going to be one of your MCs for the day throughout the program that we have on Signal TV. But I did not come by myself. I couldn't do it by myself, could I? I brought wonderful friends along. Give a massive virtual round of applause in the chat for my good friends Micah and Chris. How are you folks doing?
Hi, Nathaniel.
Great.
Awesome. All right, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about what you do at Twilio, and then we'll kick off the show?
I would be honored to, as one of your, I think, special friends that you said. My name is Micah, like the mineral. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a developer educator here at Twilio, and I'm coming to you live from sunny, beautiful London, England.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Gargata. I am a developer evangelist on our enterprise evangelism team here at Twilio, and just currently in cloudy and gross Houston, Texas. And it kind of hurts my heart to say that I'm from Houston because we got destroyed last night. So.
Oh, hey, don't spoil this. I need to watch the game later. But folks who are joining us, we want to know where you are. This is the first time, and I'm very proud, that I've been on a Twilio stream where Londoners have outnumbered Americans. So yes, we are doing one thing right as a country and a city, but we want to know where you folks are joining from. Where in the world are you joining from? Anyone tell us what countries you are? I want to see the chat popping off. And let me know, because I know some of those faces, some familiar faces. I know someone who's there from New York. I know someone who's there from many different parts of the States. Anyone, can you drop what countries you're coming? We've got people from Virginia and DC, Philadelphia, yes, Indianapolis, Indiana. Learning so many new American states. But while you're doing that, we are just going to tell you a little bit about Signal, because some of you maybe have never been to Signal. So what is it even? Well, Signal is Twilio's annual customer and developer conference that explores the intersection of technology, innovation, and customer engagement. And this year, we have thousands of developers, product leaders, and other visionaries coming together to talk about customer communications and digital acceleration. We've been doing Signal for a couple of years now, so some of you may have been here before. And one thing I love about Signal is we get to make amazing memories. So I do want to ask Chris and Micah, what are your favorite Signal memories from any of the Signals past?
Oh, Chris, do you want to take it first?
Oh my gosh. I know what everybody's going to say in chat. I know what they're going to say. I'm pretty sure I know the story that they're going to bring up. So this is actually my second Signal as a Twilion. And so last year I got to help out with a lot of the production and getting to interact with chat is always a ton of fun. But I'm curious if chat knows what I'm thinking. I know that there's a couple of people here who are going to drop this in. I'm pretty sure our friend Robert Tables knows exactly what I'm talking about. So we'll see what they say. So what about you, Micah?
I'm not sure if I can guess which one you're talking about, but my favorite Signal memory would probably be the first Signal that I did, 2019, which was our last before times IRL Signal experience as it used to be. And I was called on stage last minute. They were like, "Hey, do you want to be part of this on stage keynote launch?" And I was like, yeah, I love being on stage, love a hot mic. And they were like, great, put on this shark costume. And so I was part of the Conversations demo, which was a product that I had been working on, like the docs and the materials for. And the way that I got to launch it to the world was wearing a shark costume, running on stage as part of this entourage of people in the demo. And there's a really good picture that someone grabbed of me on stage, and they were like, look really sad in the moment. So I'm making this super exaggerated frown. And I think Jeff is looking really excited in front of me. And it's just such a weird juxtaposition of the CEO being very excited and then this lady in a shark costume looking bleh behind him. So it was just such a is this my job? Is this how it be? And just really set it off for this is how Signal season goes.
I love it. Part of the legacy of Signal is the fact that we actually get to combine the weird, the wonderful, and technical all in one. And Signal TV is where a lot of those weird, wonderful technical moments happen. I really enjoy it. The people in the chat are dropping some of their favorite moments. No one can ever forget chicken theft or the emergency fax machine refill. Lots of legendary moments by legends who've been here at Twilio. So, can you tell us what that story was? Because I feel like I would know, but I've forgotten right now, Chris. What was your Twilio Signal story?
So my Twilio Signal story is kind of more on the back end, and it was, so, you know, there's stuff that's happening behind the scenes to make production what it is. And we are getting ready to hand over production from one producer to another. And right as we got ready to do that, someone's internet dropped. And so we're like trying to scramble to figure out, and it was like right before the keynote went live, and everybody is like texting back and forth trying to figure out what to do. Thankfully, you know, the person who runs everything behind the scenes, y'all probably know who I'm talking about, had everything set up in a way where, you know, that was no longer an issue. But it's the fun things like that you remember, and just the camaraderie of Signal and everybody coming together to put together an amazing event is always just so much fun.
Cool. That's amazing. I remember that day. I was actually very fortunate to have been like away from my computer and came back and seen like lots of Slack messages to catch up on. But you folks did an amazing job. Signal of the past has been wonderful, amazing. I've been very fortunate to be a part of it, both being in the audience and being part of the team during Signal. But Signal this year is even more special, and there are so many amazing things that we are going to talk about with Signal. But let's just take one step back further, because I know a lot of people, maybe this is your first Signal, this is the first time you're watching Signal TV, and you're like, okay, I don't even know what Signal is, I don't even know what Twilio is. So we thought it might be good to start off with a quick tour of the Twilio products. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, I already know about all of Twilio's products. Do you really? We are constantly changing. It's even hard for us as Twilians to keep up with all of the amazing things that Twilio has been doing. So let's do a quick recap through all of the Twilio products. I'm actually just gonna see if we can like show our screen, and we're gonna show you just the lineup of Twilio products on the website. Now, most of you may be familiar with our channel APIs. This is where a lot of people have first come in contact with Twilio. Twilio, oftentimes when I tell people what it is I say we are APIs that developers can use to integrate communications into their apps. Do you folks have any go-to descriptions for what you describe Twilio as usually?
Ooh, when I talk to my parents, I have to sometimes clarify that we're not, say, like a real estate website that with a similar sounding name. But I try to tie it into things that they may have interacted with, or ways that they have been a customer that had tied into some of the Twilio products. Like, you know, when you get a text notification from your doctor, or, you know, when you're chatting on a web interface, those are typically the ways that, say, like my folks have interacted with Twilio products.
Yeah, classic.
I think what I normally bring up is I normally talk to people about, you know, Uber and how they, you know, can interact with an Uber driver, and, you know, underneath the hood, there's, you know, other things that are doing that. That tends to be the easiest one for people to relate to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's usually one of my go-to examples, but we also do so much more. So just in case you didn't know what else Twilio does, let's talk a bit about some of the things that are built on top of those channel APIs. So when we scroll up on the products page, you can actually see some of the solutions that we also sell as well. So these go from Verify, Authy, we have Studio, we have Lookup, we have Conversations. And what these usually are is these are built on top of our APIs. For example, Conversations takes all of those messaging APIs that we have individually and lets you bring and build a bigger, sort of more complex orchestrated conversation that you can have. I was trying so hard not to use the word conversations to describe conversations, but I think it's actually just the best way, because conversations, when you're having them in person, they are so natural, and you can switch between different people. And the cool thing is, on the Conversations API, you can actually have conversations with people on different platforms. You can have someone on WhatsApp, someone on Facebook Messenger, someone in text, and you can integrate and orchestrate those communications. So that's built on top of those channel APIs. You have lookup and verify and Authy, which you can use to make your applications more secure, not just OTPs, but so much more. There's some exciting announcements about Verify that I am not going to spoil, but we will tell you about them later. And then we also have Twilio Studio for people who want to quickly prototype flows on the platform. And then, even on a wider scale, on a bigger scale, we also have contact centers. So we have Twilio Flex, which is our programmable, customizable contact center. One thing that I love is that people often say, like, one of our anthems at Twilio is, why isn't that an API? So when we were like, we should build a contact center, we were like, why isn't there an API for it? And we have Flex, our completely programmable contact center. But are there any of those products out of you folks that you really like, or you work on a lot with, or use all the time, that you really enjoy working with?
Seeing what the chat is saying, someone has called out your 2021 shirt, Nathaniel, on an unrelated note, but I started with the messaging suite of products, and so I have like a special fondness for them in my heart. It's how I first was introduced to Twilio before I worked here and became a Twilion. So it's been really cool to see messaging as like the entry point for a lot of developers, myself included, and seeing things like conversations that are growing and, you know, expanding what you can do and how you can reach customers.
Chris?
Yeah, my first introduction to Twilio was actually through Twilio Quest, and it came through a Twilio stream. That was before I was a Twilion, so I started playing Twilio Quest and using that to get a little more familiar with the APIs. But as a developer evangelist who works with enterprise developers, one of the things that I really love seeing is how flexible Studio is, and how that gives us the ability to work with people who you wouldn't necessarily consider them a developer, but in the traditional sense, but they're still builders and they're trying to build solutions. And the different solutions that I've seen people be able to build in that low code, no code platform has just really been amazing and empowering to see so many people build so many amazing things there.
Yes, no, I know, like, we actually have a session tomorrow morning, so you should definitely check it out, about Studio and about how it got scaled to help millions of people. You should definitely check that out. Talking about schedules, if you look underneath, if you are on the Signal platform, you can actually see the schedule for Signal TV under there. We'll come back and we'll dive into the platform in just a moment, but I wanted to take a couple of seconds to also talk about you folks in the chat, because people in the chat have been talking. We would love to hear from you. I'm going to quickly go through some of the messages that people are talking about their Twilio products that they really like. So people spoke about Sync, how they really love Twilio Sync. If you don't know what that is how Twilio can help you power real-time communication. So for example, if you have a web chat and you have things that need to be updated instantly everywhere, Sync is really helpful at maintaining state across all of those different places. One thing that is a running joke all the time is that Twilio is secretly a t-shirt factory. Wearing the Signal 2021. I couldn't find my 2022 t-shirt. I'm really annoyed. I think it's in the laundry basket. But yes, yeah, so we do make really cool swag. And speaking of swag, we actually have a way for you to win some swag. We are going to be doing a Moments giveaway. So this is how you can win a swag pack at home. And the way you do it is by simply going and following at Twilio Devs on Twitter, and then grabbing this tweet that you can see right here and quote tweeting it with your favorite SignalConf moment. So one of those moments that you maybe threw into the chat, go over to the Twitter page, follow us, retweet that tweet with your favorite SignalConf moment, and then you can win some awesome swag. You can win a sweatshirt, some socks, a journal and a pen, and an exclusive piece of swag. Mine's in its packet just behind me, coding gloves. Coding gloves are really, really, really one of my favorite pieces of swag. I don't really use them every day. I keep them for very, very special occasions of code. So I just wanted to shout that out since we were talking about swag. But back to what we were talking about with Twilio products, there has been a new product that has been added to Twilio. And this one was an acquisition we made last year or the year before. I always forget, but it has become a really, really big, important part of Signal and that of Twilio, and that is Segment. Segment is our CDP, Customer Data Platform. And I know some of you may be wondering, what the hell is a CDP? Do you folks know what a CDP is? What does it do? If you had to give it like in a one-liner explanation.
I always panic when I'm given an acronym. So I think when we were going over this, you were like, Micah, CDP. And I was like, oh, Cocker Spaniel dating profile. And that was the first thing that came to mind. But I don't think that is right.
It is incorrect, unfortunately, but don't worry. Folks who are watching can actually find out what a CDP is on the Signal schedule, on the Signal TV schedule. We will be doing an introduction to what a CDP is, but you can also check out Superclass. Now, for those of you who are in the room, who may be developers who want to learn how to use Twilio, who maybe already use Twilio and you maybe want to step up your skills a notch, we have Twilio Superclass. We actually have one of the people who used to work on Twilio Superclass who helped make Twilio Superclass last year the amazing success that it was. Can you tell us a little bit about Superclass, Micah?
Oh, Superclass is, it's really just grown, I think, and from its earlier iterations. It is a developer-focused, live, hands-on training program. It started where you can play around with Twilio Quest, and that's our our API Twilio themed video game, and you can go through the missions and learn about the APIs. We also have speakers and different intro and more complex sessions to learn about the Twilio products. I really like to think of it as like a buffet of what you can do with Twilio, but focused on the developer audience. And it is a ton of fun. My colleague Craig Dennis is like running the show this year, and he is just like really a gem to watch. So highly encourage people to check it out.
And that's only a small bit about what we have coming on this year's Signals. We also have amazing guests. The guests this year, if you have seen them, they're going to be really, really cool. We have the Clooneys, George and Amal Clooney, and we also have Venus Williams, who will be on Signal this year. So if you want to watch those, make sure you go and get your free ticket over on the Signal platform. You'll have access to Superclass for free. You'll have access to the special guest that you can watch. You can also watch Signal TV on the platform as well. So don't worry, we're still here. And there's so much more that we're actually going to show you there. But another thing that I want to shout out that you should definitely be excited for this year at Signal TV is the keynotes. We are doing something very, very special this year with the keynotes. Chris, do you want to tell the people what's very special about this year with the keynotes?
So, I mean, there's a lot going into the keynotes. We have two different keynotes. We have a keynote that's going on day one. We have a keynote that's going on day two. I'm not going to give any spoilers, so chat, don't try to hassle me. I'm not going to give you any spoilers to the keynote. But, we do have our vision keynote. We get to hear from Twilio leadership and special guests, hear about how companies are navigating, the complexity of current environments and how to engage with customers and keep them happy. And then we have a developer keynote that's just for developers. And actually, Nathaniel, I think you're a part of that, aren't you?
Oh, you said that you are not going to give any spoilers, but I'm telling you folks right now, if you were to donate to the Nathaniel Okenwa Fund, I may be able to tell you a little bit about what's happening in the keynote, and I specifically in the developer keynote. So I was very, very fortunate to be able to work on the developer keynote. We have so many amazing things that we are going to announce. We're going to talk to you about how you can unlock your potential as a developer. I mean, you're already unlocking your potential, but how you can use the skills you're already knowing to unlock some time for yourself so you can focus on what you really want to do. Because we've all been there as developers when Slack messages or emails popping with different people asking you to do these tedious day-to-day tasks instead of building really, really cool things. And we want to talk to you about how Twilio can help take some of those tedious tasks off of your loads. So definitely check that out. All right, so we got the Vision keynote as well. So we have the developer keynote tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our developer day from the keynote, and today we have the Vision keynote. So during the Vision keynote, you'll be able to hear from the Twilio's leadership and some other special guests to hear about how companies are navigating the complexity of the current environment to engage with and keep customers happy. Because that's often what we have to do, and what we're eventually doing as developers. We're building products that are going to, in some way, help improve a customer's life. So we're going to be talking in the Vision keynote about the different ways that Twilio can be helping you do that. And then in the developer keynote, we are also going to do that then, but we're going to jump into some code, jump into actually building things and show how developers can build those applications that increase the excitement and engagement of the customers wherever they are. Now, I think we can go through the agenda. Let's actually start by going through the Signal TV agenda. So right now on the screen, you can actually see the Signal TV platform. Remember, you can go and get a free ticket to join Signal. You can come to the platform. And if you're looking for Signal TV, if you're maybe watching from Twitch or from Twitter, we know that there's a couple of people watching in different places, jump into the platform, because that's where we'll be all throughout the rest of today. So jump onto the platform, and when you get on and you've signed up, head over to the Signal TV tab. Let's head over to the Signal TV tab right now. Got to make sure that I'm going to see like double of myself in just a second, like myself within myself within myself. It's going to be like a mirror. I love those mirror screens. Anyway, and if we scroll down below, then we're going to see the Signal TV agenda. So we have day 1 and day 2. So day 1, we're kicking off with us 3 wonderful hosts, and then we're going to be joining right after this. At the top of the hour, we'll be having a session by Poly AI, which is going to be talking about powering superhuman voice experiences and how they are transforming the call center. I'm really excited about this session. I am going to be the host of that session, and I'm excited to see what Nicola and Vincent have to show us. We'll be then talking about CDP, and we'll be doing an intro to the Twilio segment CDP and how that can help maximize the benefits of first party customer data. We'll be talking about conversations. Mike is going to be in that session, and then we're going to be building up for the keynote. The keynote, which is the big part of today, we are going to be building up with our wonderful friend Lizzie, who will be joining us. We'll be talking about some other Twilio products as well, with Frontline MVP and how you can build it in 10 minutes. And then Chris will be with one of our awesome friends, Dominic. We'll be talking about Code Exchange, Quick Deploy, and then we'll be talking about Twilio and Courier's adventures beyond SMS, talking about Verify's automatic fraud detection, and then a little something special at the end of the day. We'll be taking a break, and then we'll be coming back for APJ to go through their pre-show and also a fireside chat. So maybe if you're on the other side of the world, you woke up really in the middle of the night and you want to go back to sleep, make sure you join the APJ sessions. All right, any sessions that you folks, because I can see that you're involved with a few of them, that you are particularly excited for? Micah.
Well, I guess it's a little bit of a cheat answer, but I am super excited to work with Nick and present conversations, hear from him, all of the different ways that you can, meet customers where they are. I think it'll be a really interesting session. I also just really love a good Lizzie and Nathaniel hype session. I think name me a more iconic duo than you two. I challenge you to find one. So I'm really
flattery, and
excited.
it works.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I always love having good talks with our friend Dominic, and talking about things like Code Exchange and Quick Deploy, and seeing the solutions that you can start with and even continue to augment. But I'm not going to lie, I also love a good keynote hype. Plus, I've being around helping with some of the stuff behind the scenes, I've kind of gotten sneak peeks at some of these sessions, and the Poly AI session that we're about to have coming up is really amazing. Some of the work that team has been doing is really great. So please, once that session starts, make sure y'all are sticking around. I know I'm going to be watching. We just have a lot of really great content. It's hard to pick just one.
It's like
I know. There's
children.
so many cool things. Now, you both were biased, and you picked either your own session. Actually, to be fair, Chris, you did call out Nicola's session with Poly AI. But I was gonna say, let's look at day 2. Let's look forward to tomorrow. What sessions maybe are you excited for tomorrow? And you're not allowed to name one that you're in.
God, it's like picking up from among your siblings or children, neither of which I have. I always love a good playthrough of Twilio Quest. I just having seen it from its like beginning iterations. I learned about Twilio Quest when I was like starting to program and made like a phone number where you could say, you know, like press 1 for hamburgers and press 2 for hot dogs. And seeing where it has gone since then is always super exciting. I also will call out a shout out for the Battle Snakes showdown that's happening later.
I'm excited for Battle Snakes. Why don't we talk a little bit about Battle Snakes? Now, I myself, I know a little bit about it, but I am no Battle Snakes expert. What is Battle Snakes? And this is for my benefit and for some people in the chat who may be wondering what Battle Snake actually is.
I think you and I are actually in kind of a similar vein. Every time I hear about it, I'm like, oh, like the snake game on your phone, but not being played on a Nokia one-color handset. So I think we have like a Battle Snakes expert in the chat who can give us more information or correct us if we're wrong. But I believe you are taking the like snake game idea, but controlling it with code in a competitive environment. So as you can see in this like animated GIF, it's not just like your snake that's potentially Ouroborosing itself and eating its own tail. There's multiple snakes on the board that you can run into and have to like move around as they're just like nom-nomming all of the things. I think that is a long elevator pitch that I would give to someone.
That was pretty accurate. The thing that I love about Battlesnake is it explores this concept that I really enjoy called competitive coding. Because oftentimes now coding can be a very, very collaborative exercise, and we love that, but love the idea of like coding being a sport. The fact that we are all going up against each other and putting our skills to the test. And with Battlesnakes, people are challenged to write some rules, some code rules for their snake to follow. And their snake will then compete against other snakes, and then the longest wins. And what's actually been happening is there has been a competition, and now we are in the final stages of this competition. And the Battlesnake quarterfinals, semifinals, I need to remember which one's which, because one of them's close to the finals, are happening today, and then the finals are happening tomorrow. So if you have heard of Battlesnake and you're a big fan, I think you should definitely check into that. If you've never heard about Battlesnake, still check in. It's one of those new sports that you might fall in love with. But why are we showing off Battlesnakes here at Twilio Signal? Because we want to celebrate developers who are building awesome, cool things, and seeing developers who are battling their code against each other. I'm going to sit down with my popcorn and I am going to be super excited. Chris, have you watched any Battlesnakes matches before?
I haven't watched actual Battlesnake matches, but I have watched streams where people are actually writing the code and trying to program their Battlesnake. And so I've seen the development of it. So I'm actually really excited to see these head-to-head matchups in the semifinals and the finals tomorrow.
And it's awesome because the thing that's so cool is oftentimes, and this is just like code, right? People start with really, really basic ideas where they just move the snake around, and then they start to explore some really, really complex concepts. People have actually been using like AI and machine learning to figure out what the best strategy for their bots are. And it is amazingly impressive. And the cool thing, I'm going to kind of segue this back to Twilio, is that we get to see this with people who are building with Twilio. People have actually built snakes powered by Twilio functions. So you can do that as well. So you can use Twilio to build your snake. And people have been like building out these things and starting small. And one thing we love at Twilio is we love seeing developers build awesome things. The number of times that I've heard stories about a developer who had a single idea and just decided to build it in their company and then made a big difference, and then suddenly they were building much, much bigger things. Those are the stories that we love to celebrate. That's going to actually let me shout out a story that we are going to be doing tomorrow about how Zing leveraged Twilio Studio to process over 1 million urgent WhatsApp messages per day with the Norwegian Refugee Council. I really, really personally love that story because it actually tells us the story of a junior developer who was asked to build this little project in Twilio Studio. And then this little project, which was going to help people who were displaced during the Ukrainian refugee crisis, help people that were displaced, went from a couple thousand users to over 1 million users overnight. And then a senior developer stepped in to say, okay, let's make this more robust. Let's build this out at scale. And seeing developers, especially developers who are at Twilio, being able to carry and build even bigger things is always amazing. I love that. But let's talk a little bit about some other things that are going on at Signal. So quick shout out. Are there any things in particular that you two are really, really excited for?
Ooh.
I
Chris,
personally
you wanna go
love
first?
building out my hero. I have way too much fun building out my hero on the Signal platform. I probably spent way too long doing it.
Do you go
and then
realistic or fantastic?
I feel like my hero is way cooler than I am. But then I go in and I randomly change things because there's so many accessories and different things that you can do. And so it's kind of based on whatever mood I have at the moment.
I try to make mine grounded in reality where I'm I have dark hair and I guess my avatar should have, my hero should have dark hair as well. But then I try to make it a little bit aspirational. So I've had blue flames for hands. I think this year I found the boba cup. So that's making an appearance on my hero this year. Big fan.
The boba cup, that's hilarious. All right, you know what? Let's actually jump back onto the Signal platform because there is actually so much that we didn't show you. I know we got excited about so many other things, but let's go and check out the Twilio Signal Hero Maker, where you can go and design your own Twilio Signal hero. One thing which I think you should do is you should go and design yours, and then when you've done that, you should actually post it on Twitter with hashtag SignalConf as well, and maybe you can even retweet so you have an extra opportunity to get that moments giveaway. Yeah, little tip there. All right, this is your screen, Chris. Chris, tell us a little bit about it. Why don't we just play around with your character? Anyone in the chat have any suggestions for what Chris can do for their hero?
Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot of stuff here, obviously. So looking at the base, you can change things like skin tone. So you could be, whatever color you want to be. Right now I'm pretty happy, so I might make my person yellow. And then we have all different kinds of hairstyles. I went with, my current boring, hairstyle, but you can have some spiky hair. You can have who was that Street Fighter person who had the crazy flat top that was always perfect? I think a couple of people who might be my age know what I'm talking about. So you could come in here and you could do that. And then you can also change the colors of the hair. So if you wanted to have crazy green hair or red hair or something like that. I tend to be boring, so I just leave it brown. And then you can change your eye color. I actually went fairly natural. I have hazel eyes, so I did that. And then I put glasses on them just because I have glasses. And then we can, change the face. I did the open smile because I feel like I do that way too much. And then you have some facial hair options. There's a little here, but not much, so I just kind of left it off. And then we can also go into wardrobe, and I think this is where things get really, really interesting. So, you have, a crown. I'm in Texas, so I guess I could put a cowboy hat on, even though most people in Texas don't wear cowboy hats. I know that's probably a shock to some people. You could do cool things like some scuba gear or some ears or a little mask. I think we'll go with the cowboy hat. Will be a little cliche here. Apparently, there's also things. Did y'all know that there were things that you could unlock inside the platform here?
I did peek that this morning, so I'm probably going to ambitiously try to unlock them as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because now I feel like missing out.
I'm not actually sure.
Oh, so.
I need somebody to educate me on this.
Is there a challenge? I'm there.
Well, there will be challenges for you to get involved and unlock some of this swag. You know what? We're not going to give it away so much because we need to keep you watching. So what we will do is we'll tell you later in a bit about how you can unlock some prizes and also raise money for a good cause, all on the Signal platform alongside Signal. So definitely check that out. But one thing that I do want to shout out is we have so many other things going on. So definitely make sure you go over and fill your agenda, because this is something we talked about, some of the sessions that we're excited for. We talked specifically about the sessions that are happening here on Signal TV. But Signal TV isn't where everything is. It's one piece of the amazing cake that is Signal. No conversations about cake or pie. We're not going to do that. All right. So what you need to do is you can go over to the Signal platform and you can actually go and find the sessions that you will be interested in. And you can actually add them to your agenda. So there may be sessions like the Superclass session that you may want to go and check out. I really highly recommend Superclass if you want to get hands-on writing code and getting things going. You can go and check out some sessions on some specific products. And one thing that you can actually do as well is you can actually go to our community hall. Now, the community hall is a bit separate from the sessions. The community hall has a couple of things. So we have a live Q&A booth talking about different products. And maybe you are here for Signal, but you want to talk about a specific problem that you are facing and how you want to solve it. You can definitely go over to the products list and go over through Q&A and ask any questions. You can also talk to people if you maybe don't have a question about a specific product, but you want to talk about an industry that you're in and maybe how Twilio can use you in how Twilio can help you in that industry. You can go and head that over there. We also have the Twilio Ventures programs. So these are where you can go and have a Q&A and chat with people from the Twilio Venture program. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because that is related to the next session that we have. And you have, and this is where I feel really, really vain, you have also the to-do. The to-do list is something that we as I said vain because somehow someone decided to put my face there. It's a bit annoying, but it's not. I'm very, very good.
Somehow.
But this is where you find out that I built this page. I didn't, I promise. But on this place, there are so many different resources and recommendations specifically for developers. And we know that many of the people who join us are builders of some forms. Maybe you're not specifically a day-to-day developer in code, but you build. We would like to give you all of the resources that you might find useful here. So you can go and check out how you can join Superclass. You can see Signal TVs on there. There's a couple of other things you can do. But if you're a developer and you like living in your terminal and in your code editor, there is a special way that you can interact with and engage with Signal. And that is with the developer mode. Chris, I think that you should take the reins and tell us a little bit about the developer mode as you give us a walkthrough.
Yeah, so developer mode is a way that you can interact with Signal just from your command line. It's this really cool way to interact with the Signal platform and interact with all the things that are happening during Signal. And this is something that I actually do not currently have installed, so we can actually kind of walk through the steps in my terminal and we can do this live. So I do currently have the Twilio CLI, which is the Twilio command line interface, already installed on my machine. If you don't know what the Twilio CLI is, there's actually a really great session that myself and Alex Goldman are giving tomorrow that's called Twilio CLI 101 Plus, because we're going to talk a little bit about what the CLI is, and then we're going to take kind of a slightly deeper than a 101 dive into what you can do with the command line. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run these commands, and we're going to go ahead and get this installed here. So Twilio plugins install at Twilio Labs. So this is a plugin here, Twilio Labs /plugin Signal 2022. So this is going to go, and this is going to install that plugin. So we're going to let that run for a minute. And this is actually something that any one of our viewers can do right now if they want to. They can go and download this if they have the Twilio CLI installed. If you don't have the Twilio CLI installed, you could totally go do that. There's a lot of really great documentation on how you can do that, depending on whatever system you're on, whether you're on a Mac or Linux or Windows machine. Like currently I'm on a Windows machine. And so we're going to let this install, and then there's some different commands that we can interact with and some things that we can do. I am curious, how many people do we currently have in chat who actually have the Twilio CLI installed and have officially used it? And Robert Tables does have a good call out. Twilio CLI is officially 1.0 GA. I want to say as of last week, so huge shout out to the Twilio CLI team and all of the hard work that they did getting that out.
That's the first product announcement of Signal. Like, we need to make a big fuss about the first product announcement at Signal that Twilio CLI is now GA. Now, I know a lot of you were in beta. I was in beta too. But that is the first one. I feel like wherever in the production heavens, we're going to eventually find a like button so we can like celebrate each product announcement. But I love it. Super amazing. Congratulations to that team. Sorry to jump into you there, Chris. But
no,
I just
absolutely.
out.
Yeah, and there's stuff that's out on Twitter. If you do follow Twilio and Twilio devs, there's some great content there talking about the release to GA for the Twilio CLI. But let's go ahead and just look at like what the available flags are running this help command. So Twilio help Signal 2022. Let's see what's available. And there's a lot of stuff in here, and I am zoomed in. So there's a lot of things that we can do here. We can let's see. We have a conflicting command name here. I wonder if it's because I have a previous version of a Signal plugin installed.
Probably from last year. Don't worry, it'll be fine.
It is,
this is classic.
It'll be fine. Classic go live. So if we run Twilio Signal 2022, let's see what happens here. It does conflict with a previous plugin. Oh, look at that.
Well, this is how you.
All right, so
sorry, go on.
We're in developer mode.
Okay.
All right, so what this says is welcome operator. Signal developer mode is an augmentation of your Signal experience packed with functionality for you to build while you're attending Signal. It includes a full schedule, useful resources, and several demos of Twilio code. So I'm not going to spoil any of the content that is inside of developer mode. I want everybody to be able to go and install this and experience it for themselves. So install the Twilio CLI, install the Twilio developer mode plugin, and then feel free to go in and dive into all of the content. There's a lot of stuff that has been put into this, especially for Signal. So go and enjoy all that content. It's really, really cool. It's a fun way to interact throughout the day today and tomorrow.
It's going to be so much fun interacting with all of those. Thank you so much, Chris. I love the massive amounts of work that have been put on to the Signal developer mode. It's amazing seeing how it grows each year, gets better and better. We get more features put in. I know that they've been working really hard on this. So hopefully you developers out there, you've got your terminals out and you're installing it right now. All right, we've got a couple of minutes. We're counting down. We're going to be kicking off the show. We're going to be having in 20 minutes or so, we're going to be having our first session, which is going to be Poly AI Superhuman Voice Experiences. But I also do want to remind people to go onto the Signal platform and to start filling out their agendas. You can pop us open in another tab, start checking out some of the sessions that you want to see, some of the sessions that you want to watch, and tell us maybe one of the sessions that you are really, really looking forward to. If it's a Signal TV session that you're looking for, you can find them under here. They're not in the session catalog, they're under here because they're live right as they go along. So you can check those out underneath us and see some of the different sessions that we will be having. All right. There has been so much that we've talked about. We've talked about building an agenda. We've talked about Signal TV on the platform. We talked about building a hero. Is there anything maybe I have missed that we should talk about before we go for a break?
Yeah, we've gone through a lot of stuff this morning. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Let me just go through some notes here and make sure that we're not going over things. All right, so we talked about developer mode. We did. So, I mean, there's probably some people who just joined us. I do feel like I'm actually a little jealous, and I have some major like FOMO because I'm not allowed to win the swag pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about the swag pack in a minute. There was one thing, sorry, I should have made the hint even more. That was my bad. But there is one thing that we also do want to celebrate. Remember when we told you that Signal, we at Twilio, we love to celebrate developers. We actually have a package because we have 6 amazing developers that we really want to celebrate this year. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a couple of seconds. We are going to play this message about the developer Searchlight, and then we'll be right back to tell you a little bit more about it. All right, so really excited to show you how we are celebrating Twilio developers. Twilio's Developer Searchlight project honors mentors and leaders who dedicate their time and positive energy to shaping a better future for developers. This year, 6 honorees are creating community and throwing open the doors to the industry so more people can become developers and succeed in their careers. Nominated by their communities, we found 6 people who deserved special recognition for the passion, love, and mentorship that they have offered to the developer community. These 6 people are the honorees of our Developer Searchlight. If you're interested in learning more about how these champions have helped elevate developers individually and as a whole, check out this Business Insider piece that dives deeper into the incredible work that they've accomplished. But for now, we just want to say a big thank you for all of their amazing contributions to the community. Hey folks, so that is the Twilio Developer Searchlight, and we shouted out 6 developers that have been doing amazing work in the community. I just want to take a pause and let's talk about mentorship, and I want to talk about like coding mentors. We saw 6 amazing people who have done amazing work in their communities, and we're actually going to be shouting them out throughout the rest of Signal TV. I'm going to kind of take a riff and go a little bit off script and ask you folks, have there been any mentors that you really look up to that helped you a lot with coding?
I think one of the earliest introductions I had to coding was through the bootcamp I was doing, and I had like a formally assigned mentor. And one of the things she told me really early on is that code is someone's opinion on how to solve a problem. And hearing it framed that way, that it is an opinion and not like the binary right or wrong, and that people all approach problems differently. And it can be, you know, like your solution will look different depending on like the language or the way that you choose to implement it, was a really helpful framing. And I think like, I like to think of a Franken mentor where the mentorship that I receive comes from different people, but like that nugget of information has always stuck with me through my career.
Wonderful. And there's actually a Business Insider post that you can find out if you go to twill.io/searchlight. There is a Business Insider post about each of these different inspirational leaders and mentors that are creating a better future for developers. What I would highly recommend is that you should go and check it out in your own time, twill.io/searchlight, and we will continue to celebrate all of these wonderful developers and the things that they have been doing for their communities, making the developer world a better place. I think it's really important that we celebrate these people. So I did get in front of you, Chris. What was a mentor or someone who has been inspirational to you in the world of code?
Yeah, honestly, I had a really great mentor as I started interning. I was very fortunate to get an internship while I was at university, who just taught me a lot of really valuable concepts, and didn't just give me answers but taught me how to look for answers. Because I think one of the things that a lot of times I joke with people, I'm a lot better of a Googler than I am an actual developer, and I think that's like one of those things that is a skill that you have to gain over time. But the other thing that I want to shout out is the importance of content creators and all of the content that they create. You have people who, take time out of their day to, stream content. If it's live on Twitch, there's live coders who stream on Twitch, and people who have built Discord communities and post on their blogs and post helpful things that are on Twitter or whatever, medium they decide to use. And I think that a lot of us owe our careers to the people who have done that, because I've spent many a day and many an hour sifting through somebody's blog posts and looking through their code examples and things like that. And so I just really appreciate the time that people take pouring into things like that and building up developer communities where we have the opportunity to learn from one another.
Yeah, the people who are in the developer Searchlight honorees list, that many of them have also content creators and doing so many amazing things. So definitely check it out. You might find someone that will inspire you. All right, I know that we've been talking for a long time. We've gone through a couple of things. Let's ask some questions of the chat. I want to hear what people in the chat are really excited about, because a lot of people have been talking about the many different things that they are. I see people who are going through the agenda, looking for details, looking for a lot of details about Signal TV. Happy that you're excited for Signal TV as well. So definitely check that out. One question that I did have that I wanted to talk about, which is that something that is very, very popular about Twilio. Twilio has a lot of swag, but I think there is one specific piece of swag that I think is one of the most coveted pieces of swag. And you happen to be wearing it, Micah. Can you tell us a little bit about that piece of swag, what it is, and how someone gets it?
So this is the very stylish Twilio red track jacket, and it's sort of a rite of passage when you become a Twilion and build your first Twilio app that you receive this jacket. It's not something you can go buy from a swag store or from a high street shop, as I believe they say here in London. It's something that you earn through, like building your first app with Twilio. Mine was a number that you called or texted and you got back a K-pop song of the day, and I got to play around with like Twilio voice and getting to like speak in Korean over a Twilio product, which was very cool. So it's really just like a great way to be introduced to the company and what the products are, and also like wear this extremely comfortable jacket. So I always like pulling it out of the closet and putting it on and feeling like, game face is on, jacket is on, ready to do this.
Let's see, I want to hear from people at home what you are wearing, what you're doing as you are watching Signal. You can drop it in the chat, or even better, you can take a selfie in front of your home setup watching Signal, and you can tweet it with the hashtag SignalConf. And remember that we are doing a giveaway. We're going to be doing this giveaway across the whole of Signal today and tomorrow, where if you go to Twilio Devs at Twilio Devs, go to our Twitter handle and you give us a follow, and then you retweet the pinned tweet right there on the top with your favorite SignalConf moment. It might be this SignalConf because it's your first, or it might be an old SignalConf moment, and you can win a swag bundle. So that will include sweaters, socks that people have said they've loved, some coding gloves, maybe if you're coding and your hands get a bit chilly, and a few other bits and bobs. So, but while we say that, we're talking about swag, I want to ask you, Chris, what is your favorite Twilio swag item? Because it may be one of the things that people get in that swag kit.
See, I'm actually really jealous of the swag kit, because one of the things that that I have, and I didn't bring it into my office this morning, so I may have to have a couple of wardrobe changes today. But so I actually love my 1-year Twilion hoodie. It is like one of my, hitting a year with a company is a milestone that I think that we all tend to be proud of, but it's also super comfortable. But I'm really jealous of this zip-up hoodie that's in the swag bundle. And then I gotta admit, I love socks. I have like some crazy Twilio pizza socks, and then I have some just regular, Twilio logo socks. The thing that I can never get my hands on or in are coding gloves. And so that's why I'm a little bitter right now, is because I don't have the opportunity to win some coding gloves.
Don't worry, Chris. I can hook you up. The Swag King will always be here to help. All right, folks. Now, I know some people didn't join us from the top, so we're going to do a quick recap about Signal and about all the amazing things happening, and then we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be back with our first ever session. Wow, we've even got a Twilio pen. All right,
that's a good pen.
Hey, folks. Maybe if you have joined us halfway through our conversation about swag, my name is Nathaniel. I'm joined by the wonderful Micah and Chris. We are going to be your MCs for today on Signal TV. Signal is our developer and customer conference where we talk about intersection of technology and customer engagement and how you can engage your customers more effectively. We're going to be having so many different sessions which are going to educate you on the new technologies that Twilio has been working on and some of Twilio's friends have been working on to help you in those things. And so you can definitely stick around. There's going to be so much cool content. If you want to get hands-on and maybe learn a little bit and dive into code, you can go and also check out Superclass, because Superclass is going to be great for getting hands-on and learning about all of those sessions. We also are going to have some introduction to some new things we've been doing at Twilio. We've been working really hard on our CDP segment. We're going to have a segment CDP session. Make sure you go over into the platform. You can get your free ticket, go over into the platform, and you add all of those sessions to your agenda. And then we're going to have the main event, the keynotes. And we're going to have a vision keynote today with some business leaders and some customers who are going to talk about all the inspiring ways that Twilio has been helping with customer engagement. And then tomorrow we're going to have the developer keynote, where we're going to jump into how we can help you be a more productive developer. So many things that I've had to reel off. Are there any things I may have missed? I'm pretty sure there is, because I could not remember everything.
I think you hit most of it.
Had most of it. Also, don't forget to go over into the platform, get your hero, and you can play the game. We're going to talk about it later as well. And you can play the game and you can actually raise money for a good cause. So get your hero ready so that when the game's ready, you can start to play. All right, folks, I think we have done so much talking about today. We are going to take a short break, 5-minute break, and we'll be back at the top of the hour for our first session, which is going to be with Poly AI. Poly AI is a Twilio Ventures company. Twilio Ventures is a part of the wider Twilio ecosystem. Many people know about Twilio's products, but also there are so many other really, really cool companies that we think you should know about that are around Twilio that you can use to enhance, to build on top of, or to connect with your Twilio experiences that you're going to be having already. I am so impressed by the technology that Poly AI has been building, and I'm so excited to be able to show that off to you. That's going to be in 5 minutes, but we are going to take a break and we'll see you at the top of the hour. Stick around, go play around in the Signal platform, and we will see you soon. We are so excited. Sorry, just give me a second. We are so excited to be kicking off Signal TV, and we have an amazing session that's going to start the day. We have the wonderful Poly AI, and they're going to be talking to us about superhuman voice experiences that are transforming the call center. Now, there's no point in having great tech if your customer doesn't want to interact with it, and we are going to be joined by the co-founder and CEO of Poly AI, Nicola Merksic. How are you doing? How are you doing?
Hi, Nathaniel. It's great to see you. Thanks for having me. I'm great today. How are you?
Good to see you. I am good. I'm really, really excited. I will never forget when I found out that your session was one of the ones that wanted to be on Signal TV. And the first thing I did is I went onto Poly AI's website just to play around, and my mind was blown away by some of the amazing work that you have been doing. So why don't we just talk a little bit about Poly AI and its history, you as the co-founder and CEO. What was the inspiration to start Poly